Hello and welcome to Serenity, Peace and Comfort, and to this very raw, very real and authentic, quick little remembrance of September 11th, 2001. Please leave in the comments your remembrances of that day, where you were, what you were doing, who you were with, what it was like for you. It would be wonderful for you to record that history below in the comments. Thank you so much, and let's begin. Hello, kindred spirits. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the world of Serenity, Peace, and Comfort. My name is Serenity, and today I have a very different video for you. It's a video of commemoration and remembrance. We are remembering September 11th, 2001 and 2012. I'd like to share with you some of my remembrances of that day, and I'd like to take you to an exhibit in a local park that I think is really worth seeing. First of all, the whole purpose of this video today is to make sure that we never forget. That day in 2001 and in 2012, heroes were all over the place to be found, and sadly, hundreds, thousands of martyrs also that need to be remembered. Let me take you through my memories of that day. Everyone who was old enough remembers where they were on that day. I was at work. It was, as you probably know, it was a very sunny, beautiful day. And all of a sudden, the security guard, whose name was Joan, came bounding into the room where I was, and she was incoherent. She could barely talk. But she said something about the trade tower. Something happened. She thought maybe a bomb went off. She didn't know. But I tried to console her, and I thought, well, that's a very, very terrible, sad thing. But that the trade towers have been attacked before, so I figured that might be this again. So Joan left. I went back to work. But not too long after that, she was back in the room again. And again, she was shaking, upset, couldn't speak. And she said it happened to the other tower now. And I said, what are you talking about? And she said, it wasn't a bomb, it was a plane. And I thought, that can't be right. It's a beautiful day. Planes don't fly into the towers. I was like, she's misunderstanding something. But I knew this wasn't good, but I didn't know what was wrong. Now, at that time, nobody had a cell phone. Where I worked, there were no TVs. The phones were not where I was, and there were already people on the phone, so it's not like anyone could call out to family and friends. So it was very, very strange, but I still went on with my work. Well, when Joan came in, and now she was crying, and she said there was a third plane. Now I knew, oh my gosh, our nation is under attack. And the first thing I thought of was, I'm trapped here at work, I want to go home. But we weren't being let go yet. So I just couldn't understand what was going on. But one thing, I could hear military aircraft above our building. So to me, it sounded like all hell had broken loose. What was it going to be like to drive home? And I couldn't wait to get out of there. Well, of course, Joan came in with the fourth announcement, and now we were waiting. When were we going to get the word to go home? First thing I wanted to do was put gas in my tank. That's the first thing I always think of in an emergency. And I did that. I went right to a gas station to fill up my tank. And the gas station, I remember, had flags all over the place, but the flags were faded, torn, ripped up, and I was angry. And I remember I said to them, how could you let the flags get to this point? You should put up nice, beautiful flags. And the guy that didn't speak English, I don't even know if he knew what I was talking about, but that's how angry I was. And I immediately realized I don't have any flags myself. So I went to a place that I knew sold flags, and all they had was the teeny tiny little flags, and I bought one. And I remember her saying, you're the first one in here. And I remember saying to her, oh, you're gonna have more coming. And sure enough, I was right, because it turned out like within an hour the place had been sold out. But nobody could really get any flags after that. I drove home, and I will tell you, it was like being in a weird science fiction movie. The roads were absolutely bare, empty, quiet. Now where I live, that does not happen. Where I live, the roads are full 24/7, 365 days a year with traffic. It was bizarre. No people, nothing. I could have ran through every red light and not even gotten caught by a cop. There was nothing. So immediately got home. But here's the thing. TVs were down. Couldn't watch it on TV. So I never got to see anything really that went on that day. All I had was radio. So through most of what happened on 9/11, I never saw much of it. So a friend called me. We were all meeting at a nearby church, which we did. Then after church, we went to a friend's house, and we sat up till about 3 in the morning. Her TV was working, and we watched the whole thing unfold on TV. And it was incomprehensible. It was, again, like being in a movie. It wasn't even registering. And then I drove home, and I remember feeling utterly frightened because the roads were so empty, and being a woman in a car all alone, 3 in the morning on empty roads, and no one had cell phones at that time. So I remember saying, please God, get me home safely. And once home, I was awake the whole night, because this was just insane. From that point on, it was listening to the radio 24/7. Now, some people did have television reception. For some reason, our house lost it. So, again, couldn't watch really much of it at all, just was listening. About 3 days later, after the attacks, I felt compelled to go down there to Ground Zero and pray, which I did. And I was down there all alone. There was nobody around. Again, it was surreal. It was very, very bizarre. And where I was standing was several blocks down from the destruction, but the destruction was so huge, it was as if you were standing right in front of it. You could have been 3 miles away and you could still see all the destruction. But from the vantage point of where I was standing, you could see the fire and the smoke, and it looked like what you imagine hell to look like. And I remember thinking, my God, that's what going to hell is going to look like. It was so jarring. It was frightening. The next day, I remember going out to grab a slice of pizza, and nobody could get enough flags. I had stopped into a pizza parlor, and this particular owner did something that I thought was so amazing. Here you see a cardboard flag. nothing special about it, right? This man went to a local printer, spent all this money printing up packages of these to give out to anybody so that every American could have a flag in their window, in their car, in their business. It was so amazing. I saved it for that reason. The fact that an average American did what he could do to help the cause, which was just getting these printed up. He used his own money, and I thought, wow, what a great memory that is. It's so inspiring. So I always saved these, because although it looks so not special, these were truly very special. I'd like to tell you also about another day of infamy, September 11th, 2012. There were 4 Americans, no, more than 4, sorry, there were more than 4. There were 4 killed, but there were more than 4 Americans at a place, it was like a consulate, in a place called Benghazi in Libya, and it was under terrorist attack. Our American heroes called to get air support, to get help. The government that we had at the time would not send that help, and to this day make up all kinds of clever excuses to take the guilt off of themselves. And of course, we all know it's a total lie. They would not send any help to these poor people stuck in Benghazi, Libya. And because of their, who knows if it was intentional or not, but because of what they did, good Americans were martyred, killed in a horrific attack with no help. The irony of this is that I'm recording this today where Americans, good Americans, are stuck in Afghanistan and our government won't go in and rescue them. History is repeating itself. It's incredible, horrific, and maddening. I wear this bracelet made out of leather, made by one of the survivors of Benghazi. And it says 13 on it because the attack lasted for 13 hours, where they had to fend for themselves with no help. A couple made it out alive. Several were tortured and killed. So I wear this so that we never forget. Why should we never forget? Because bravery and heroism is always worth remembering. And now I'd like to take you to a special exhibit at a local park which commemorates all those brave souls on September 11th, 2001. Join me. Here we have what is called the survivor tree descendant. It is a pear tree, and here is the story. plumbers and the carpenters and the laborers and the electrical workers who helped with Ground Zero. And these 10 plaques list all of the neighbors and local towns here where people died on that day. I know there's a lot of glare and reflection in these, so it's hard to see, so I'll just do my best. And of course they name the companies and where they worked. They tell you which tower they died in. Wondering why there is a space, it's because their bodies were never found. This is a memorial to the plane that went down in Shanksville, Pennsylvania. by step of how the day unfolded.